Hey, it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video as I pick up an Abrupt First Blood. This is the topical commentary that I want to address and speak about and just kind of share my thoughts with you guys and also enlist your feedback. In the background, this is just some Lucian gameplay. I was playing with a friend and got fed out of my mind, proceeded to get this first double kill and just kind of snowballed the game from here. But anyways, the topic I want to talk about is not Lucian or even AD carry, but I want to talk about support. If you watch any of my videos for an extended period of time, you'll notice that the topic of playing support and doing it correctly is something that is definitely on my mind. I play a lot of AD carry. That's pretty much my main role. And so therefore I play with and against a lot of supports. And the role of support is extremely undervalued. I will say this time and time again that if you want to have a successful bot lane, you need to have a good support, not necessarily a good AD carry. Because supports dictate the tempo of the pace of play in the early game. Supports are generally fairly useless. Their kits are designed to scale with items, and so they are not very effective without items, whereas their kits are designed to be effective regardless of what items they have, and therefore the opposite is true. They are going to be powerful even without items. So supports are some of the strongest champions in the game early on. Really nice hook there by Nami. That double bubble is just so darn good. Gotta love it. Look at Nami just 1v2ing like a boss right now. I'm sorry, Nami, if you end up going down. I will avenge you. I promise you I will avenge you, Nami. One more. He's gonna use his barrier, but that's fine with me. Oh my goodness, I'm failing. Come on, get this kill. I actually am very intrigued. Oh, there's the double kill, but I think I do end up dying to this jungle team. What a boss. Anyways, let's get to the topic on hand. So the general perception in the community is that support is an unfavorable role. If you play any sort of normal or rank queue, support is always. There are those who enjoy it and are support mains, but I would say that by and large the general perception is that playing support is not very much fun. It's not what they want to do. They want to be carrying. They want to carry the game, either mid or top or AD carry, or in the jungle. But that support is kind of this lackluster role, and I think that especially at lower levels, people often view it as a very boring role because you just kind of sit there and ward and watch your AD carry last hit. But I maintain that is a very false, perception of playing this support role. Like I said, supports are the ones who dictate the pace of play in the bot lane. But I think that there are things that Riot could do to make the support role more interesting. And I think that the prime thing that they could do is if you really take a look at the champions that you're releasing, and if you continue to release champions that are really fun to play as supports, I think that is the biggest thing that Riot can do in order to change this perception. Because in general, supports are not released as frequently as other champions. If you just kind of look at it, I think Thresh was the last one we got, and the one before that I think was maybe Zyra, but I don't even think Zyra was intended to be a support. But I guess Nami was soon before that as well. But if you just look at the champions that have been released, let's just go ahead and pull this up and I will read it off to you. So we've got, let's see, the most recent was obviously Lucian, Aatrox, Lissandra, Zac, Quinn. Then we have Thresh, Vi, then we have Nami, Zed, Elise, Kha'Zix, Syndra, Rengar, Diana, and then Zyra. So out of those last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 champions. We have 2 that are dedicated supports, and 3 that are, I guess, technically. So if you can go further back than that, we've got Jace, Draven, Darius, Varus, Hecarim, and then Lulu. So they kind of are releasing, out of these 20 or 25 champions, there's maybe 3 or 4 supports, which is definitely low. But the thing is that you have a support in every game. Supports. It's not like support is a low played role. Support is extremely powerful and common. And if you watch competitive play, one of the things you'll see is there's not a ton of diversity in support. You'll see generally Thresh, Zyra, Sona. There was Nami for a little bit, but she's kind of even fallen off. But a lot of the other supports, maybe Fiddlesticks, there isn't a tremendous amount of variety. And I really think that if Riot were to continue, I think Thresh is a fantastic example of a champion who is designed very well. He's really fun to play, and he's really, really effective without items, and that was what makes him such a good support. If Riot can continue upon this trajectory and continue to release, champions that are really fun to play, champions that are powerful, that can play the support role, I really, really think that it would benefit the game. And I think that Riot has more power than they maybe realize in their ability to shape the community's perception of what fun. If Riot is releasing champions that are attractive, that are really fun to play, that are powerful, that are interesting, I really think that they have the power to make changes over how the community views the support role. And I think that they undervalue it, because if you especially some of the older supports, like Soraka and Janna, they're not necessarily very fun to play. They're pretty straightforward. I mean, a good well-timed Janna ult is, I don't know. I personally think playing support is fun, but at least the perception that you just kind of sit back, you're the dedicated healer, and you don't really do much. If Riot were to change those responsibilities and give supports more power and more, not necessarily more power, but just like the ability to actually, make fun and interesting choices in lane and in team fights, and make more champions that are really powerful and suited for this role, and be creative with those champions. I think, like I said, I think Thresh was a great example. If they can take what they did with Thresh and continue along that trajectory, continue along that line, and just try to really make sure that every support that they release, that they put a lot of time and effort into, that they really make their kit very cohesive, very much something that works together very nicely, and specifically something that's really fun to play. I think that if the support champions that Riot is releasing are the ones that are fun to play, I really think that's going to have an impact on the way that people view the support role. Because truthfully, I think that, and also I don't know, I feel like it's going to take time, but you have to be conscientious about changing and being intentional about changing the mindset of the members in your community. If you do guides, or if you release videos, or if you just do things to glorify the support role, if you especially during the LCS, if they show off really, really awesome plays that the supports make, if they're just, I feel like Riot needs to take an intentional stance about kind of a failed Lucian out there, but they need to do a little bit more about intentionally trying to change this perception, because I really do think that it's something that they have control and power over to change. But and not to say that support is going to drastically turn around night and day and be this this wonderful role that everyone's going to start playing. I don't think that will ever really happen. It's always going to be a little bit more of a niche role, because you're in terms of power levels, you just don't have the same level of power because you aren't getting items. I think that items are another thing that they could really, really work on here. Think about how much fun it is when you finally get that Infinity Edge as an AD carry, or when you finally get that Last Whisper and you can start shredding tanks, when you start to complete these big high-ticket items. It makes the game really fun. Well, why don't they do the same thing with supports? I realize that supports aren't getting a lot of gold, and therefore it's not necessarily going to make... You can't have like expensive items, so I realize, but then at the same time you can't have these really cheap items that do a lot for you. But find ways to make... Riot is very creative. There've got to be ways that they can tweak itemization, that they can tweak support specific items. Perhaps they would do something like you can only have one per team, and one of these such items per team. I don't know. And maybe there would still be ways to abuse that, but maybe it is bundled with an item. Like, maybe what if they upgraded the Sightstone into something that doesn't just give wards and health, but something that is more powerful? What if they, I feel like there are a lot of things that Riot can do, and I don't necessarily have all the answers, but I do think that there are things that they can do to really change this perception with itemization and with the champions that they release. What if some sort of item that... What if you could put a mastery point into... Instead of getting like a biscuit and a cheap 30-second ward, think about that in terms of a mastery point compared to like, the execution, the 21st mastery point in the offense tree. That's a cool point. Or when you get like 4% cooldown reduction or 4% attack speed. Those are cool masteries. But what if instead of, the support mastery was like a biscuit, which, was equivalent to a potion, or some dumb ward that doesn't last very long? What if they really upgraded that and gave you some really powerful masteries that were support-oriented, that weren't really helpful for individual laners, but for about buffing your allies? What if there was an item that was all about buffing an ally? To a lesser, if you look at the popular and common support abilities, something like a Kale ultimate that can totally shield your as I do go down there, but a Kale ultimate that can totally shield your ally from all damage for 2 seconds. What if there was an item that could do that? I mean, that would be really, really powerful and really cool. But what if it was time specific? What if it was something like, you have to put a mastery point, and then it's time specific, that if you reach a certain point in the game, then you can unlock this item. I don't know. I don't have the answers off the top of my head, and I'm curious to hear what your guys' ideas are. But I do think that there are things that Riot can do to make the support role more interesting, more intriguing, more attractive to the community. And I think that they're missing a grand opportunity to do so, because really if you compare like support to AD carries, AD carry is not really going to change. You're auto attack based. You're gonna focus on crit, attack speed, damage, lifesteal. I mean, the basic build: Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, sprinkle in a Bloodthirster, or maybe a Blade of the Ruin King. Get your Guardian Angel, Berserker Greaves. You're done. I mean, that can work. That build works for pretty much 90% of the AD carries out there right now, except for the Trinity Force guys. But Trinity Force is broken and will get changed. But anyways. What if they did the same? They're not gonna. My point is, they're not gonna change, itemization for AD carries. They're not gonna change how that role goes. But that role is relatively straightforward. It's pretty well defined. I mean, people understand how to play it. They understand what it does. Well, with support, I feel like you have this grand opportunity to make this role that's very interesting. It's a role that's not focused on dealing damage. It's a role that is focused on aiding and abetting your allies in what they're trying to do. There are so many different things that you can do that. Where Thresh is focused on modifying positioning, and whether if it's your allies or your teammates. Soraka as a healer. They do have these categories in place. What if they did more? What if they even took it a step further and found different ways to really change the way that the game is played for supports, to make it attractive to the public? To make it attractive to people who want to play League of Legends. Like I said, I don't know if I necessarily have the specific ideas, but I want to get this conversation started, and I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on what do you think Riot can do to make the support role more interesting, because I do think that there are things that they can do. Riot is the creator and the developer of this game. They are responsible for the trajectory that it takes. And if they want, if they really want to, I'm confident that there are things that they can do to change the perception of the community. So anyways, I think I'm going to let this game play out. There's only 4 minutes left, and perhaps I'll even just talk about it, but I really do think that there are things that they can do, because, I mean, truthfully, I think that the support role, it can be better. It can be, improved. There are things that Riot can do to make it better, and I'm confident of that. If you look at the things that they've done with other champions, like, Zac or Lissandra, I mean, they have all these cool features in their kit that help them do the things that they want to do. Zac has this tremendous sustain, and he's got this incredible initiation potential. And how much fun is it when you're playing Zac and you jump in to the middle of the enemy team, you hit your ultimate, you start bouncing around, you start throwing stuff. I mean, he's just a really cool, fun, interesting champion to play. He's also very powerful, and so that helps that he's kind of OP, but he also is a very well-designed champion, and he makes being a tank a lot of fun. And especially if you look at Thresh. Thresh kind of stands out because he's kind of, I would say, a little bit more of a lone wolf in terms of like a modern, really well-designed support who does really interesting things. I know that Nami's up there as well, but I do definitely think that there are things that they could do to really up their ante in terms of support play. But anyways, like I said, I want to hear your guys' thoughts as we let this game play out. There's only 2 minutes left. But this was a game where Nami did fantastic. She's got 11 assists. She's been playing really well. Look at her. She's got her oracles going right now. Been playing fantastically, and really helped get me fed and get all these kills going. Why isn't this, like, what if there was a stat line for not just assists, but, like, I don't know, there's got to be a way that Riot can glorify and glamorize playing support. There has to be something that they could do to really make it seem and be more attractive. Oh, am I going to get this kill? Going to have to flash for it and get that double kill. Fortunately, oh, Sarat, get out of there. No! Is she going to live? Live! No, the poison got her, but I did avenge her death and picked up the triple kill up to 17, 4, and 0. Pretty stacked right now on Lucian. He's pretty fun. I haven't actually really taken him into ranked, and I'm not necessarily sure that I want to. I've really, in terms of ranked play with AD carries, kind of shift the topic as this last minute. In terms of ranked AD carries, I've really shifted my focus to strong auto attackers. I think that the strong auto attackers are the way to go. So talking about like Tristana, Caitlyn, Twitch. Twitch is a champ I'll probably do a Y-buy on soon. But, you know, I feel like strong auto attackers are the way to go. Ability-based champions are just a little bit too, I don't know what the word is, inconsistent maybe? Or it's just a little bit more difficult to consistently do well and get fed. Whereas I feel like if I play an auto attack champion and I do my job and I get a lot of farm, I can very confidently be strong throughout the game. I can very confidently, you know, once I get my Infinite Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, I become incredibly powerful, and so I like banking on that. But anyways, to summarize my point for the last time, I think that the support role is misunderstood, and I think that Riot can change the way that the community views the support role. One, with the way that they create champions. They created more supports, and if they continue to create supports that are very interesting and fun to play. Also, if they maybe tweaked itemization a little bit, make it so that supports have meaningful and interesting itemization choices. Fantastic bubble right there. Meaningful and significant itemization choices that isn't affected by gold, but is more affected by their status as a support. So anyways, there's the surrender. Pretty awesome Lucian game. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really want to hear your thoughts on the support role as a whole, and whether you agree or disagree or have any ideas about what they could do down in the comment section below. Thank you very much. Bye.